Mayor poised to formally announce June election. Jailed Milosevic charged with corruption and criminal conspiracy. And the Countess of Wessex speaks out to defend her marriage.
From ITN, the ITV Weekend News with Katie Darrow.
Good evening. The government's expected to announce emergency legislation later today to postpone May's local elections because of the foot and mouth crisis. It'll be the first time for 100 years that that's happened outside wartime. The new date is certain to be June the 7th, when a general election is also likely to be held. Here's John Draper.
The Prime Minister was looking relaxed at Downing Street this afternoon. Now the big decision's been taken, although he won't actually talk about it until tomorrow. Many in his cabinet had misgivings about a postponement. The Tories wanted one, but still criticised Mr Blair.
Well, I think it's high time that the Prime Minister stopped dithering. I mean, he's fiddling while the countryside burns. He should be fully engaged on the foot and mouth, instead of which he's messing about, worrying about an election that doesn't have to take place for a year.
I think the country probably has the impression that William Hague would like all elections delayed until we've overcome the crisis in the Tory party, but I'm afraid we haven't got a few years to spare. So the Prime Minister has done what was absolutely correct. He has directed his attention towards foot and mouth disease.
Some think that having put off the election, Mr Blair can't really reschedule it until foot and mouth's well under control. In the meantime, the Home Secretary will have to go before Parliament with an emergency bill because, unlike the general election, the County Council elections are fixed for May by law. The formal announcement will be made to the Commons later this week. Special legislation will be introduced to postpone the council elections from May to June the 7th. The general election needn't even be mentioned, but in practice, that will become the date for both the local and the parliamentary elections. During his weekend in the country at Chequers, Mr Blair must have been pondering the political dangers of the election slipping further, possibly to the autumn, but the reasons for the delay were evident each time he drove in and out. John Draper, ITN.
Our political editor John Sargent joins me now. John, what are the advantages and the disadvantages of this delay for the government?
Well, the advantage, obviously, the main advantage is that the Prime Minister can then appear to be sensitive and concerned about the problems, particularly in the areas where foot and mouth is virulent. But the disadvantage is that he links his government with the progress of the disease, and nobody knows how long it will be before they can really say they're on top of it.
So does this mean the general election will definitely be held on June the 7th as well?
It's certainly being said behind the scenes the general election will be held on the same day, but that's really to try and cheer up the depressed supporters, and there are an enormous number of them in the Labour Party, who wanted the election to be on May the 3rd. But of course what you can't do once you have delayed in this way, if the same arguments apply if foot and mouth is still out of control, then he may be forced to delay again in June, and that's the big risk, the big gamble that he's taken this weekend.
John Sargent, thank you very much indeed. The former Yugoslav president Slobodan Milosevic has pleaded not guilty to charges of corruption and criminal conspiracy after being arrested early yesterday morning. He was finally seized by armed police in Belgrade, despite saying he would never be taken alive. Julian Mannion witnessed the day's dramatic events.
Behind a tight police cordon, officials negotiated with Milosevic for most of the night. At one point, the ex-president threatened to shoot himself and his family. But just before dawn, a convoy of vehicles took the man who ruled Yugoslavia for 13 years to prison. Shortly before the end, Milosevic's 36-year-old daughter, Maria, apparently became excited and fired several pistol shots in the air. But government officials say that no force was used. The ex-president was taken to Belgrade's central prison. There he has already been confronted with the charges against him, including corruption, abuse of power and criminal conspiracy, and has declared that he is not guilty. Behind these walls, the man many regard as the butcher of the Balkans will enjoy family visiting rights and consultations with his lawyer. But what Western governments will want to know is whether he'll be going from here to the War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague.
I welcome the fact that the people of Serbia now had a chance to learn the truth about how Milosevic looted their economy through fraud and through corruption. I believe the more they learn about that, the less sympathy, the less support, the less patience there will be with Milosevic, and the stronger will be the support for handing him over so justice is done.
The official Yugoslav position is that Milosevic can only be extradited to The Hague following a lengthy process of changing the constitution. But others will note that today's arrest happened in response to an American deadline and that pressure can produce results. Julian Mannion, ITN, Belgrade.
The Countess of Wessex has given a frank interview about her marriage to Prince Edward. In it, the former Sophie Rhys-Jones insists the couple are very close and denies rumours her husband is gay. Buckingham Palace has angrily criticised another newspaper report which quotes the Countess as making rude remarks about members of the royal family and says that they're riddled with inaccuracies. Ruth Hockey reports.
The Countess of Wessex said she wanted to put the record straight on a number of rumours about both herself and Prince Edward. Speculation that the couple spend much of their time apart and have separate rooms at their home in Surrey are, she says, a load of rubbish. As are suggestions that Prince Edward is gay. The Countess told the News of the World, "He's not gay. How I'd love to be able to go out and sing from the rooftops. It is not true." The Countess also talks of the enormous pressure of being continually compared to Princess Diana. "I don't deny that we do look alike, and it's a huge compliment for me when people say that, but I couldn't compete with Diana's public image. I'm not Diana."
It's par for the course. It happens all the time, especially to the Wessexes. They're forever getting attacked in one way or another for the slightest thing.
Another Sunday newspapers published an interview the Countess supposedly gave to an undercover journalist at a London hotel. She's alleged to have made derogatory remarks about senior members of the royal family and leading politicians. Buckingham Palace has strongly denied the report, saying it's riddled with inaccuracies. But the comments the Countess made on the record may have raised eyebrows among the royal family, who rarely discuss such personal matters in public. Ruth Hockey, ITN.
The main news again. Tony Blair's expected to announce emergency legislation later today to postpone May's local elections because of the foot and mouth crisis. And that's it for tonight. From everyone here on the ITV Weekend News, goodbye.